Jön kívánok, hogy vagy, yo? Start of start of another day for me. I like waking up. Hello, Mr. Hello, Mr. Handsome. Yesterday I did I say that I say that in all fun. Yesterday there was somebody who on the comments got his shorts in a bunch. Something about me bragging or me, whatever. And I don't know what it was about the video yesterday. I did a very short video yesterday, and the video was, I don't know. I mean, it was just one of those videos to let everybody know that I'm okay, and having a little fun with the cup that I found here in my accommodations. Hello, Mr. Handsome. And some screwball took that I guess, took that to mean that I was bragging or something like that. And, you know, I don't know what to say about that. You know, is implying that I'm handsome, is that bragging or something like that? I'm no more handsome than the next guy. In fact, as I woke up this morning and I'm looking in the mirror, I'm thinking I'm overweight. I have graying hair, wrinkles, you know. Maybe to someone out there I'm handsome, but I don't see it when I look in the mirror. Oh, goodness gracious. For the longest time in my life, I couldn't even look in the mirror. I had my self-esteem when I was a young kid going into going into the old man that I am. But being a young kid in high school, and even coming out of high school for that matter, I had no self-esteem. I couldn't even look. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. It was always challenging. Every year we'd go to J.C. Penney's. We'd go to J.C. Penney's or Sears. Usually it was like J.C. Penney's, I think, or Sears, and then we'd go to Tom McCann. And bless my mom and dad. They, considering that my dad worked as a mechanical engineer, and he never made more than, I don't know, 35,000 a year, which back then probably was the equivalent today of 70, 80, 90,000 a year or something like that. But in all my dad's years, he never made more than about 40,000 a year. And I'd be a fool to say that my mother never worked. My mother, my mother was the, my mother was always the backbone of the family. That's as I've grown older in my life. My mother was the backbone of the family. My mother was probably she was the disciplinarian, and she kept the ship sailing straight. And I look back over the years, and we were never really for want growing up. We didn't have a lot. I grew up with 9 brothers and sisters just outside of Cleveland, and we didn't have a lot, but we had what we needed. And that was what was important. We had what was needed. And every year we would go to get clothes for the school year. And it was always challenging because that was a big thing. All kids go to get, new clothes for the school year. And, how my mother would manage the money such that every year come the new school year that us kids would be taken to taken to get clothes. It was just incredible. It really was. It was really incredible. And we never had the fancy clothes. We'd always go to school and have modest modest clothes and what have you. And you go and you see, like, my best friend. He was a child of two. There were two, him and his sister and him. And he'd always have all the really nice stuff. But anyway, getting back to the self-esteem thing, when I was in my adolescence, I had no self-esteem. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. Going to get school clothes every year was always a challenge for me, because you'd put the clothes on and mom would, say, okay, go stand in front of the mirror. Do you like this? Do you like that? How does this look on you? And standing in front of the mirror was always hard for me, because I had no self-esteem. I had no self-confidence. None of that. And it was a challenging period of my life. And I always felt, whenever I found myself in a crowd, whenever I was in a group, I always used to feel that I wasn't wanted. I had my best friend at the time. His name was Eric, and Eric was a jock, and Eric, was real popular, and Eric and I grew up in the same neighborhood, but his social circle was significantly different than mine. Eric was one of the popular kids, and oftentimes I would go with Eric to these social functions, these parties, or these whatever it was, and I used to always feel myself unwanted, and I used to always feel that the only reason I was there was because I was Eric's friend, and it was tough. It was tough. My adolescence were really, really, really tough, and I didn't think much of myself at all. And then I joined the military, and the military took a boy and made a man. Probably one of the better things that happened to me in my life. But I came out of the military with a heck of a lot more confidence than I did when I went in. And as I look back over the course of my life, the struggles that I've been throughout my life, the challenges that I've been throughout my life, the adversities that I've been through, and the being pushed down, by various people, and getting back up. All of that is what has put me in a position where I find myself today, where I have a fair amount of confidence in myself. And oftentimes it's been my experience that people will misconstrue confidence for arrogance. That's one of the things that I've really noticed over the years, is that oftentimes people will misconstrue confidence for arrogance, or arrogance for confidence, whatever. You get the point. But when I check into my Airbnb here, and I see this little cup, "Hello, Mr. Handsome," I don't think that I'm any more handsome. I don't think that I'm any more handsome than the next guy, unless the next guy is Skip Smith. Now, Skip Smith is really handsome. Skip Smith is one of those guys that was just blessed in life, with natural born handsomeness, and You know I'm teasing, right? Skip doesn't talk to me anymore. Kind of interesting. You know, he just doesn't talk to me anymore. I could call him up on the phone and he just doesn't answer. And it's what a shame. What a shame. But, you know, maybe I rode Skipper too hard. And maybe Skip was, maybe Skip, maybe Skip is softer than I thought, you know, but anyway, it's all good. I still love Skip, and I still talk to Sue. I talk to Sue pretty regularly, and Sue is quite the angel. But anyway, so I woke up this morning. I woke up this morning to a message from my favorite sister. I woke up this morning to whenever I call my sisters now, I tell them, it's the first thing out of my mouth. How is my favorite sister? I hope that the three of them. I hope that the three of them are. I have four sisters, one with Downs, but I hope that the three sisters that I call regularly and say how is my favorite sister. I hope that they don't sit around and say, you know, and try to boast and say, oh, you know, Tom calls me his favorite sister, you know, because then, you know, the other two are going to catch on and say, what do you mean he calls you his favorite sister? He calls me his favorite sister, you know, and then the cat will be out of the bag, you know, that all three of them are my favorite sister. But I like each one to individually think that they're special above and beyond the others. Oh, but anyway, so I woke up this morning to a message from my favorite sister, my oldest sister at that. And it was a message that who was it, Pompeo, the head of state, or whatever it is, has urged all Americans to get home. And my sister was kind enough to send me this screenshot of a message of him telling all Americans to get home, and you know, flights might stop, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. The only airlines right now that's traveling internationally, I think, is United Airlines. And that's it. And, you know, I'll share with you my reply back, and I'll share with you my thoughts. I've always said that if I meet a woman, one of the criterias for me to have a partner is that I have to have a partner who has a good thought process, who can make good decisions quickly, and can be forgiving of themselves if they don't make, you know, the right decision. Nobody makes the right decision all the time, but it's important to be able to make a decision, and it's important to be able to make an informed and the best decision. And those of you that have been following me, you remember I did my video, the window of opportunity and all that type of stuff. You know, I could probably, in all likelihood, I could be on a plane this afternoon. I could have been on a plane yesterday. I could be on a plane maybe tomorrow. Next week, I don't know. I don't know if I could be on a plane next week. 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, I don't know if I could be on a plane. And as I replied back to my sister, and anybody out there, you know, if you want to correct my thought process, you tell me, because I certainly welcome any comments. But as I told my sister, right now, getting from Australia, and the key phrase right there is right now. Right now, the key phrase is getting from Australia to the United States probably is not a problem. I don't think that's a problem. Getting from California to Florida that could be a problem. A lot of the airlines, a lot of the airlines are just shut down. And I looked into renting a car, landing in California and renting a car and returning the car on the East Coast and doing a 3-day road trip. And I even thought out the fact of buying or renting like a larger car, like an SUV, where I could, gas is so cheap, and renting myself like an SUV or something like that, where I could just, pull over into a rest area and sleep, spread out, just by myself, or get myself a foam mattress or something like that, and sleep in the car and do a nonstop trip across America. And I'd be going from state to state to state with a California license plate. And can you imagine driving through Colorado, Utah, Nebraska, Iowa, Indiana, whatever. Imagine driving through all those states with a California license plate. I'd be getting stopped all the time. I'd be getting stopped all the time. I don't know if I can't imagine that they'd make me quarantine 14 days in California, drive to Las Vegas, quarantine 14 days. I doubt that would be the situation. But anyway, it's just the logistics of getting from Australia to Florida. That's one thing. It's the logistical challenge of pulling that off. The other thing is that, with the exception of the trip to Costco or what have you, I've had very minimal exposure to other people over the last, 2-3 weeks or something like that. I've had very, very minimal exposure to anybody, and I intend to keep it that way. And getting on, going to the airport and going through, all that stuff, and sitting on a plane for, 14 hours, and then going through another airport, and then sitting sitting in that airport for God knows how long while I wait for a flight, and then getting on another flight, and then going through another airport and going home. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'd probably have more of a chance of getting coronavirus trying to get home than I would staying here. And, I look at where I'm at. Legally, as I was telling my favorite sister, legally, I can stay here until the 15th of May. That's the better part of 6 weeks from now. 6 weeks I can stay here legally. My tourist visa expires. The other consideration that I told my sister is that, unlike in the United States, here I have health insurance. I bought a 90-day health insurance policy. And if I need a doctor, I've got insurance. Back in the States, I have the Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA healthcare system. And not to take anything away from the VA healthcare system, but I can imagine that being in a state of Florida, where the average age, I think, is 93, I can imagine that being in Florida, that the VA healthcare system is going to be quite a bit, it's going to be strained, it's going to be challenged. And so I asked myself, where do I stay? Or what do I do? Do I go home? Do I run the risk of going through the gauntlet of the airplanes and the airports and the car rentals and all that kind of stuff? Do I run that risk, or do I stay here? And it's not the easiest decisions to make. And I don't know what's going to happen if I stay here into May 15th. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where the world's going to be. And it may turn out that staying here was the worst decision of my life. It may turn out that it was the most wisest decision of my life. You just don't know. At some point in time, you let go, you let God, and you trust in the Lord. Uh, but but anyway, it's an interesting situation to be in, and I know there's those of you out there that are going to say, Tom, get on a plane today. You got to get home. If I get sick back home, there's nobody to take care of me. There's nobody back there that's going to, you know, bring me chicken noodle soup in my bed. I would probably be just as soon find somebody here that would be bringing me chicken noodle soup in my bed than I would find somebody back home. And what is it? Feed a fever, starve a cold, or starve a cold, feed a fever. I don't remember. But anyway, so that is the that is the thought process. I've got 2 weeks. I've got 2 weeks in this beautiful home. I mean, where I find myself is just beautiful. You saw my drone footage last night of the neighborhood. I can go for walks. I can go for nice walks. I could take a short drive in my car down, to some little villages where there's, nice walks along the beach and what have you. So, for right now, I feel that the best thing is for me to stay put. And this might be hopeful or optimistic, but the curve down here, and they talk about flattening the curve, and the curve down here in Australia, if I'm not mistaken, over the last couple of days is starting to flatten, and with new cases, but that could be misleading because they talk about an increase in what's called community spread, particularly in the state where I find myself right now. But I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. Somebody the other day asked me if if I have any anxiety. It was one of my clients asked me. It was an older gentleman. He says, Tom, don't you have any anxiety? Aren't you anxious? Don't you find yourself being anxious? And I told him, I said, Gary, not really. I said, I don't find myself particularly being anxious. I said, I don't. And, a lot of that comes from, my faith. It's my faith, and my faith is, probably the most valued possession that I've got. My faith in God is probably the single greatest asset that I have. And as I look at people, as I go through this crisis with all of you, and I interact with people, and you see the challenge that you see the challenge that people that don't have that faith go through. I mean, it's just I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't get through this. I couldn't endure this without my faith in God. And I don't know how people that don't have faith manage to get through all of this. But anyway, so that's those are the thoughts for the day. And I will tell you, I was thinking as I was getting ready to do my video this morning, these videos that I do, these morning thought videos, they serve, I don't know to what purpose they serve those of you watching my videos, the some 200-300 people of you out there that watch my videos every day. I don't know to what purpose the videos serve. Maybe they give you a form of entertainment, Maybe they, give you some encouragement, what have you. But, doing these videos, for me, what I get from these videos, to be quite honest with you, is a lot of love and a lot of support. There's a lot of you out there that I've never met before, never met, and in all likelihood will never meet. But I feel the love and the support, from so many of you, and that's what really helps me. I'm looking for my glasses, but that's what really helps me. In addition to my faith and my hostess thinking to, leave a cup for me that says, "Hello, Mr. Handsome," you know. In addition to my faith and my morning "Hello, Mr. Handsome" coffee cup, the support and the love that a lot of you give me really means a lot. It really helps me get through the day, as I read the comments and what have you. It really helps me. It really helps me get through the days, and I'm grateful for that. But anyway, on a couple other quick notes. Interestingly enough, the video that I did the other day, Costco Down Under, in just 36 hours, that video has gotten like 1,000 views. And where those views came from, I have no idea. I absolutely have no idea. It'd be interesting to look at the analytics and see where those views came from. But anyway, that was one interesting thought. The other interesting thought is I was listening to something the other day. I was listening to Fox News. I was listening to a guy named Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson, with a name like Tucker, it was hard to take him seriously when he first came onto the scene at Fox News. But I think that he replaced Bill O'Reilly, if I'm not mistaken. And Tucker Carlson has really come into his own insofar as being a well-opinionated source of news and information. And, I know there's those of you out there that just wouldn't even turn on Fox News. You just wouldn't turn it on because you have this thing in your head. I'll turn on CNN, but there's those of you out there that just, God forbid, oh my God forbid, Fox News will not be on in my household, But you might be enlightened, if you actually sit there and listen to some of these commentaries. Tucker Carlson did a commentary the other night that really made my eyes, my ears, my eyes open up, or whatever. And he was talking about the responsibilities. The federal government has a responsibility to take care of its people. There's no questioning that. The United States government, the federal government, is beholden to the well-being and the welfare and what have you of its people. But so too are the local governments. So too are the state governments. The state governments have a responsibility as well. And you look at the city of New York, and you see this guy Como, who has really come into his own as well. Not to take anything away from Como. As far as the leadership that he's providing during this crisis, it seems to be quite impressive. And you see now he's a liberal, and I'm giving credit where credit is due. But what's interesting is that a lot of times people, albeit liberals or albeit conservatives, they have a hard time doing that. They have a hard time giving credit where credit is due. God forbid, one of the anti-Trumpers say that, Trump is doing a good job, with this crisis. But Como has come into his own. Como has stepped up and and he's really providing, I think, some good leadership. But the question is that why wasn't New York City prepared? New York City is probably one of the most diverse collections of international people in the world. New York City is a composition of people from all over the world coming and going, and New York City, is the bullseye of the world when it comes to being a target. And and New York City was New York City was the 9/11 and what have you. So, the obvious question is that, why wasn't New York City better prepared than it is? Why is New York City struggling to the point that it is? Why was New York City not better prepared? Why was New York City, instead of worrying about, taxing, soft drinks and making plastic straws illegal and all that kind of stuff, why wasn't New York City stocking up on ventilators? Why wasn't New York City stocking up on masks? I mean, it's not that they don't have money, but for them to find themselves in the situation that they are, and to constantly attack the federal government for lack of support. I mean, you take responsibility for your actions or your inactions. And I don't know if anybody's asked Como during one of these press conferences, why were you not better prepared? It's a logical question. I mean, it really is. It's a logical question to ask, and it's not a question where you're attacking them. It's just a question to ask. Why were they not better prepared? Why was California not better prepared? Why were many local and state governments not better prepared? And why was the national government? Why was the federal government not better prepared? You can spread it around. You spread it around 9 ways to Sunday. But boy, you look back. I was listening to this Tucker Carlson commentary the other day, and you look back on some of his comments about, over the last several years, all the stuff that we've been sending to China. We've been sending all this stuff to China. We've been, it's just the absurdity of some of the policy and some of the practices that those that have been leading us, they've been leading us astray. That's what they've been doing. They've been, the leaders have been leading us astray, and a lot of the leaders before us, I think I saw something where, 4 administrations, Clinton, Obama, Bush, and Trump, have just completely overlooked the shortage of masks and not being prepared for a situation like this. So to sit there and pinpoint the blame, on Donald J. Trump, without spreading that blame equally, across the board, you really need to do some soul searching. Those of you out there that are just honed in on Donald Trump, as far as being responsible and blood on his hands and all that type of stuff, you really need to go look in the mirror and ask yourself, why were these other state and local governments not better prepared? Why did previous administrations not better prepare us for this situation, rather than just ignorantly putting all the blame on one individual, Donald Trump, because you hate the guy, you know. But anyway, so those are my thoughts about that. You know, I mean, it's a you know, do some soul searching. You know, there's an expression that I like, and the expression is, the pillow knows the truth. The pillow knows the truth. I love that expression. Meaning, at the end of the day, you end your day and you crawl into bed if you have a bed to sleep in. Okay? You crawl into bed, and there's been many times in life when I didn't have a bed to crawl into. I had the back seat of a car. But you crawl into bed and you put your head on the pillow. Hopefully, it's a memory foam pillow. And at the end of the day, it's just you and your thoughts. It's you and the pillow. You know, the pillow knows the truth. It's you and your thoughts. Meaning that, you know, you have a conscience within you. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. And the pillow knows the truth. But anyway, I don't know if I can read some of these comments here. Let me see if I can go back and read. Oh, we got Tammy joining in. As long as you are in a low risk area, you are probably better off staying in Australia. People here are not following the guidelines and keep the spread. Okay. Hi, Tammy. True. Rusty. Hi, Rusty. Hug, sister. How come I don't get any hugs? Wise advice I've heard is watch or listen to a variety of sources. The differences, the extras. This is the Rusty. Rusty Tammy show. So anyway, with all that being said, I need to get on with my day, and hope everybody out there has a great day. All right, take good care of yourself. I'm going to pour myself another cup of coffee. All right, see you later.